John Olson is my name. I am employed at a trading company and am 49 years old. My employer is a well-known national brand. At one of its branches, I worked. The branch president called me in one day. "Son, you have a transfer order." "Really? Where are you going at this moment?" "It appears that they would like you to return to the headquarters." "I understand. After 2 years, I've just now begun to form meaningful relationships here. I know I'll miss you too, but this is a directive. You must first visit the headquarters to get to know your new employer." After 2 years, I was once again passing through the main entrance of the headquarters. It was just as spotless as usual, and I couldn't believe 2 years had passed. Even beyond the scheduled hour, I waited in a conference room at the headquarters for my new boss, but nobody arrived. After 30 minutes or so, a woman came into the room. "Mr. Olson, you have to be. My name is Mary Emerson, and I oversee HR. It's good to meet you." She merely bowed silently, not even bothering to say sorry for being late. "You know, you still have time to decline this job offer at the headquarters." "What are you trying to say?" Manager Emerson gave me a scornful laugh when I inquired. "At the headquarters, people like you are not going to cut it. Perhaps you ought to have continued to feel at ease at the lower-level branch." Her remarks gave me a migraine. What was wrong with her? "No, I'm going to give it my all at the headquarters." Emerson, the manager, gave a snort of disapproval. My return to headquarters was scheduled for 1 month later, even though I was filled with sadness. It was my first day back at the main office. During this time, I should have ideally attended some training at the headquarters, but I was too busy at the branch handling handovers and work, so I didn't have time for introductions. I was therefore a little anxious about starting work without doing any homework. I was glad to be back at the headquarters, though. Feeling conflicted, I went inside the main office. I waited for Manager Emerson in the conference room rather than going directly to the office. Today, we were meant to go to the workplace together. Manager Emerson showed up on schedule. When she saw me, she remarked, "You actually came." She appeared, for some reason, disappointed. I bowed after enduring her impolite demeanor. "I'm excited to collaborate with you. To be clear, you might not be a good fit here for someone your level. Recall that our business is among the top enterprises in the nation." "Yes, I do comprehend. Very few people are employed in the headquarters. The majority arrive at the branches." That was undoubtedly accurate. Only a small percentage of those who apply to this company are hired for the headquarters. The majority are categorized by branches. It is rare that submitting a transfer request to headquarters is successful. Working in the headquarters is therefore somewhat of a prestige signal. Well, until 2 years ago, I actually worked at the headquarters. I take it you were downgraded to the branch. It's surprising that you returned. I chose not to disclose the specifics of my transfer to the branch because it was not a result of a demotion. I looked into your past. I take it you only completed middle school. Yes, you are correct. Manager Emerson shook her head, unable to believe what I was nodding. How on earth could someone like you have ever held a position at the main office? Did you use any unscrupulous tactics? That isn't the case, though. Someone who just completed middle school could not possibly work at the headquarters without some deceit in the hiring process. Manager Emerson came up to me and was really aggressive. No, I didn't. I aced the test with flying colors. Don't make unfounded allegations, please. I'm sure I'll find something about you. It appears that I've drawn the attention of a challenging individual. My daughter is employed here as well, by the way. Oh, I see. How are you aware? Oh, right, there have been some rumors. Manager Emerson was pleased when he heard my response. Oh, really? Here, my daughter is really well known. She is extremely outstanding and my pride and joy. Manager Emerson suddenly seemed happier and escorted me to the office. I was able to finally get inside the HR department, but the situation was far from finished. I was standing in front of the HR staff during the morning assembly. I was introduced to Manager Emerson. John Olson is who I am. He will be working in our department as of right now. I'm excited to collaborate with you. The staff members clumsily gave me a bow in return. Manager Emerson then grinned. Because he dropped out of middle school, feel free to treat him like a servant. He's really only useful for that, she remarked, chuckling. I lifted my head gradually. Please take good care of me. The staff members looked about anxiously as I said this. Then, a more senior staff member hesitated to speak. Madam, what about him? How about it? The worker gave me a permission-seeking look. So it's already known. I interrupted the worker. I apologize, manager. I haven't given a decent introduction yet. John Olson, the middle school dropout, is that not sufficient? Manager Emerson continued to laugh. No, I haven't mentioned something. After saying that, I gave my business card to someone. My name is John Olson, and I work as an audit officer. Kindly remember me. An auditor. Yes, I replied with a big smile. Manager Emerson's face became tense. She turned to see how others were responding. Not at all. I'd never heard of anything like that. You could never work as an audit officer. How come you are so certain that isn't true? In reality, I work as an officer. Feel free to check with your superiors if you have any doubts. When I assertively stated this, Manager Emerson appeared perplexed. I was hoping to keep this a secret. After all, my job is to conduct audits. I ought to have promised everyone in advance to keep it secret. The staff members bent their heads upon hearing this. I'm so sorry. No. It's not you I'm talking about. I mean, it's natural for everyone in HR to recognize me since I was here until 2 years ago. I'm regretting my own lack of foresight. My comments appeared to relieve the staff. Why is everyone acting like he really is an audit officer? You all aren't conspiring to trick me, are you? I asked. Why would we do that? What benefit would there be in that? But Manager Emerson would not listen. How can a middle school dropout become an audit officer in a big company like ours? It's absurd. She chuckled once more. Let me explain. This is John Olson, the audit officer. He scored top marks in the entrance exam. Manager Emerson, though, chuckled. My daughter did that too. Does that mean she should be an officer right away? No, at the time. Audit Officer Olson was only 15 years old, yet he outperformed many college graduates. That's what makes it impressive. What? So he's just a bit good at studying? It's not just about studying. The audit officer was immediately effective in the sales department. He single-handedly established connections with our most important Chinese business partners from scratch. It's not an exaggeration to say that he helped make our company one of the top ones in the country. The audit officer has numerous other achievements as well. The worker was explaining my accomplishments with great passion. Although uncomfortable, it was essential to support my claims. Manager Emerson's color darkened as the staff member continued. Recognized for these achievements, he became the youngest ever appointed audit officer. At last, Manager Emerson appeared to acknowledge the reality about me. So your transfer to the branch 2 years ago was also because? Yes, it was for my auditing duties. Excuse me, but what exactly does an audit officer do? My role is to rectify any misconduct among employees. Of course, that includes investigating even the president and others. I can't go into details, but there were certain reasons for going to the branch, as I explained. Manager Emerson gave a brief bow of her head. I'm truly sorry for the numerous improprieties. Well, that's okay. Just remember not to judge or evaluate people based on their education. It benefits no one. Yes, I will take that to heart. Manager Emerson raised her head slowly after that. But why has an audit officer like yourself come to our HR department? Acknowledging that there was no escaping it, I responded. Of course, for auditing purposes. And it happens that this HR department is the subject of the audit. The HR personnel was agitated by what I said. The first person to object was then Manager Emerson. Wait, there's nothing wrong with our HR department. I see the buzzing employees calm down. I'm not saying there's a problem with the entire HR department. Then what do you mean? It means the subject of the investigation is within HR. Manager Emerson's brows knitted. You mean it's you? Manager Emerson looked surprised, her eyes widening. What have I done to deserve this? Don't say such nonsense. I've reflected on judging people by their education alone and vowed never to do it again. Of course, it's not just about that. I wouldn't be here for just that reason alone. I'll discuss this matter with you alone from here on. Everyone else, please return to your work. Following my remarks, the staff went back to work, still in a buzz. I went to another room with Manager Emerson to carry on our chat. What was that all about? With a scarlet face from rage, Manager Emerson looked at me. I was approached by the sales department manager with a concern. There's a troublesome employee in the sales department. Her name is Nicole Emerson, your daughter. Manager Emerson suddenly looked away as I said this. My daughter? What about her? She seems to have quite a few issues. She lacks common sense and knowledge, and her attitude is poor. Apparently, she also lacks any motivation to work. Exactly, I replied. Manager Emerson protested vehemently. I can't do anything about that. As her parent, I can't look after her at work, and I can't believe what the sales department manager is saying to me. She's an excellent and proud daughter. I see. So you're saying the sales department manager is spreading rumors. That's right. My daughter graduated from a well-known private university in the city. How can she lack knowledge and common sense? Are you saying we should judge based on education? No, of course not. I do believe that most people with excellent educational backgrounds are capable. So the sales department manager is wrong then. I gave a headshake. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. We didn't rely solely on the sales manager's opinion. We conducted our own investigation beforehand. Investigation. Yes, my team observed Nicole's performance. We concluded that the sales manager's concerns were valid. Emerson, the manager, started to perspire. Is that true? Yes, unfortunately. She's not suitable as an employee of our company. Manager Emerson, though, continued to hold onto her position. Even the most talented individuals can be influenced by their environment. Indeed, that might be true. I'm sure my daughter isn't getting along with her manager or colleagues. Or maybe she's too talented and is being ostracized. In such a situation, it's impossible to work properly, leading to a bad attitude. I replied by nodding. That's a possibility we can't deny. Therefore, I'm planning to transfer my daughter to this HR department. Under my guidance, she can demonstrate her true abilities. It's best for both the employee and the company to work where they're most suited. That's definitely true, Manager Emerson said with an obviously satisfied smile. Then I will tell my daughter to submit a transfer request right away. Wait, please. Manager Emerson was about to pick up the phone when I stopped her. What is it? We need to do this quickly. Indeed, it's possible that Nicole's performance has been negatively affected by her environment. That's what I've been saying, Manager Emerson said in a sour tone. However, we are considering another possibility. What is that? Another possibility is that she might not have met our company's hiring standards in the first place. Manager Emerson sat back and laughed a little. What do you mean? That would imply that there was a problem with the recruitment process. If that's true, it's a serious issue. Yes, it is. But what we suspect isn't a mistake in the process. Then what is it? We think there may have been wrongdoing. Excuse me, do you realize what you're saying? Misconduct in the recruitment process. That's impossible. Anger filled Manager Emerson's eyes. I will not tolerate any further insults to my daughter. Of course, I'm not making baseless claims. There are inexplicable facts that point to this. What are they? In the process of investigating Nicole, we discovered her level of knowledge is alarmingly low. It's doubtful she even has a college education. I pulled out some documents. Here are some materials she created in the sales department. They contain errors and typos that are hard to believe. In her conversations with other employees, doubts have been raised about her basic knowledge. Emerson, the manager, gave a snort of disapproval. That's just a matter of personal perception. Typos can be a simple mistake or a computer error. Of course, my daughter should have checked her work, but to conclude she lacks common sense from that is unfair. I gave her a piece of paper and said, "True, such errors can happen. However, Nicole has achieved something unbelievable in a certain aspect." Manager Emerson was at a loss for words as he looked at the document. For the test, my daughter studied hard and prepared for the interview. That's the result of her efforts. If so, that's commendable. But are you suggesting all that knowledge just vanished after joining the company? That's hardly conceivable, isn't it? Then what are you trying to say? She did achieve excellent results in the test. That's a fact. That's why we suspect there was misconduct. I said emphatically, even if you say misconduct, what could my daughter have possibly done? Nicole couldn't have done it alone, but a manager in HR could certainly convey test content and interview points to their daughter. Right. Manager Emerson's face became pale as I said this. There's no way I would do such a thing. It's really difficult to believe, I said, to Manager Emerson's sneer. Look, I don't know what you're trying to do as an audit officer, but do you have any evidence? Evidence, you say? Yes, you've been talking freely, but it's all just your conjecture, isn't it? Is there any evidence? I shook my head. Evidence that I told my daughter about the test content. Unfortunately, no evidence has been found. That's why I came to HR hoping to find some. But it seems that won't be possible now. Manager Emerson chortled with triumph. Don't worry, you won't find any evidence because there's no such fact. I let out a long sigh. I see. I don't want to do this, but... What? You're still planning something without evidence. We have no choice but to prove it directly. It seemed that Manager Emerson was not understanding what I was saying. So we will have Nicole retake the recruitment test, only the written exam this time. Manager Emerson's face went pale when hearing this. What? Have her retake the test? Yes, that's unnecessary. She already passed the written exam. Why does she need to retake it? Because there's a possibility that she cheated. If she really got the top scores through her own ability, she should have no problem with the new test we've prepared. It's a different test, but at a similar level. What have we done? My daughter has been working properly. Unfortunately, she doesn't seem to have the will to work. It doesn't matter if she lacks knowledge or even if she cheated her way in, as long as she works properly. If that were the case, the sales manager wouldn't have consulted us. However, she lacks the most crucial thing, motivation. Manager Emerson gave me a bitter look. So you're doing this to fire her? It's not about firing her. It's about taking appropriate action. We feel the problem lies more with you, Manager Emerson, than with Nicole. Me? Yes, if you, as the HR manager, used your position to get your daughter into the company, it's a matter of credibility for our company. We'll deal with this before it becomes public. What will you do? In the worst case, it's termination for both Nicole and you. Manager Emerson started to cry as I said this. Wait, please listen to me. What is it? Actually, I didn't want to do this. Nicole insisted, and I couldn't refuse. I thought if she failed at her job, I would resign myself. It's true, I did it. Manager Emerson was reluctantly cornered and prepared to give up on her daughter in order to rescue herself. Her ignorance was astounding. No more excuses. After a thorough investigation, we'll decide the disciplinary action for you both. Until then, you're on house arrest. Stay home and wait quietly. Manager Emerson left the organization with a dejected expression after that. Nicole, on the other hand, was told and appeared to be pleased with her early departure. She departed the business. The inquiry did in fact uncover the misbehavior. Manager Emerson had explained the test and interview procedure to her daughter. She had acted in desperation on behalf of her daughter, who was unemployed. Manager Emerson was demoted and moved to a branch, and Nicole eventually lost her job. Despite her hard work at the branch, she felt uneasy and quit because of rumors that had started to circulate. Her current income comes from odd jobs. Nicole, on the other hand, did not seek employment elsewhere and eventually was abandoned, leaving her without a place to live. In my case, I carried out more audit officer investigations. I received recognition for my achievements, and I was given the vice president position.